Welcome all. We are at the last day of BRO, and today is top 8 for Weiss. Ken,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
Nervous, I guess, again.
Nervous?
Yeah, I have a favorite among the 8, and I really hope that he wins, but...
Okay. Already showing the bias, but it's okay. I'm there for the rest of you all. All right? That's right. But we do have an amazing top 8 today, and, full of very interesting decks. We do have, the favorites, and we do have some interesting ones. So I think it'll be a great day for the AO region. And again, right, we start off the day, right, bright and early, but the day continues across the globe. So later on, we will have EU, and then to end it all, we do have NA as well. So again, just check out for that. There's a lot of great players, great decks, and we do have some of the greatest players that played yesterday. But let's kind of just quickly look at what's going on. Just the last format. Take a look at that, right? What will happen for top 8 today? So here we have yesterday was Swiss, and today is just the top 8. We basically have 3 games, top 8, top 4, and then finals. And after that, it's off to either lunch and then EU, right? So very cool. But these players are fighting for some really cool things. Ken, tell us about what the players are fighting for.
Right, so we have prizes today for the top 4. Today, I guess I'll start from the 4th place up. So getting past the quarterfinals will guarantee you a certificate, that is for 4th place. And then starting at 3rd place, on top of the certificate, you will get a 1 winner promo with a booster display of Attack on Titan final season. And then going up to 2nd place, you'll get an additional promo, so you'll get 2 copies. And then 1st place will get 4 copies of the promo, so an entire playset. So that's what we're looking at today for the prizes. 4 of the lucky players today will be able to get those.
Lucky and skilled players. Right? The PR card's very cool. But let's take a look at our players. The people who have topped, right? The top 8. Let's look at the bracket and see who's playing who. We saw it yesterday, but we want to just give you a good refresher course and see who we might be looking at, right? And it's a bit of this. I think there's 3 Mushokus. People thought there might be more Mushokus, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, it was kind of like, the best deck of the previous format, and many people who played it last season might have kind of just carried it on into this one.
That's right.
There are new options as well, and people might have been playing to counter Mushoku. There's quite a lot of things you could do, and, I think it's really balanced out and spiced up the format, so...
Very cool. So, from the top, we have Kisa, older... I think he's a bit of a legend in the aero scene now, able to always do very well there.
Yep.
Going for that win this time, right? Yep. Facing off Fresh Cabbage. Yeah. Then in the 2nd bracket, we have Ufmi versus the Chairman. And then in the 3rd bracket, we have Zizos versus SBTCG Patrick. And then lastly, we have Midi Spring Chan versus Stock Swap Games. Now, what are these players playing? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at who's playing the Mushokus and who isn't. So first off the top, we have Kisa taking the Mushoku. This seems very like a very standard deck, because why change what works, right, Ken?
Yeah, there is one change here though. That is the 1 copy of the 1/1 Elaine, which doesn't reverse against cost zeros, and I think he's probably playing this to play better against Damachi, which can really hurt Mushoku when it starts fighting the board really consistently. So by keeping up this lane, you can ensure that at least one of your lanes stays alive, and you can keep playing the game with that. Very nice. True.
And next you'll be facing against Fresh Cabbage, and I think this will be an interesting game, at least for the players. Very technical, you could say. But we did see Fresh Cabbage on stream yesterday already, and he was also playing the Mushoku deck.
Yep.
But there's some slight variations. If we can actually bring up the Cabbage's deck, that'll be very helpful. But I can already tell you, it is not running the stock swap.
Yeah, it's not running the stock swap, and if I remember correctly, it's also playing the level 3 pool instead of the level 3 Roxy in order to do extra damage.
So I think that's a bit of an old kind of older build. I'm very surprised that they're not running the stock swap. It seems to be a thing that there's some players that are going, oh, let's bring the stock swap, let's not. It seems like an idea that you can take for a local tournament, or like one where you don't know where the deck is, right? But these are open deck list formats. So when your opponent sees that you aren't running a stock swap, they're the amount of options they have is increased, right?
Yeah, I think with that in mind, we'll probably be seeing Kita trying to build up stock where possible, knowing that Fresh Cabbage can't really touch it at all. So yeah, that might be 1 point of contention in this matchup, but nonetheless, it's a mirror, and both players will kind of be poking around, seeing where they can find an opening, and then busting through wherever they can.
That's right. Mirrors, very, very technical usually when it comes to this, and it's just these little things, these little differences that can change the entire game. But let's kind of move on to the next bracket. We have Ufmi's deck, and we actually didn't see Ufmi at all in Swiss, and it turns out Ufmi is playing Hololive, and it is an interesting build.
It is indeed pretty interesting. Looks like it's crept through the radar, but he's playing the level 1 Botan and level 3 Marine combos. So looks like he's going to be compressing his deck a little bit with Botan. He pulls out 2 cards from his deck, so he's got a much better chance of cancelling on the following turn. And he can follow up there with the level 3 Cesaire. Early play at level 2, and then go into Marine to finish off the game. He does have the stock swap in this deck, which means that even if it doesn't look like Marine's going to be able to penetrate through your opponent's compressed deck with the help of the Mastery stock swap, you should probably be able to get through quite a lot of deck states.
I think this deck is quite interesting because all the whole live decks, we talked about the 3 different builds. There was the Kanata Marine build, there's the Rusha build, and there's also the Coronet Marine build. And it turns out Marine's just such a good finisher that you can kind of lump it in with a lot of things, and you can just kind of put in maybe there's a different reason you'd pick Botan over something like Coronet, but right, it just works. You still have a great top end finish. You have a solid level 1 combo, and I think that stock swap is going to be that Matsuri stock swap is going to be very, very effective against his opponent, who is Chairman. And Chairman is actually, we've seen Chairman, right?
Yeah, we have seen Chairman on stream yesterday. He is playing the Tokyo Revengers list. I think it's been talked about quite a lot.
Yeah, the no-heal Tokyo Revengers.
The no-heal. So everything that Chairman takes as damage, either from his own effect or from his opponent's attacks, is just going to be stuck there. So that might be one way that we might be seeing this matchup going. But on top of that, as we said earlier, I think stock swap can really damage this deck a lot. So Chairman will have to be careful about hitting his opponent up to level 3.
And if he does go to level 3, he compresses so much, he gets so much stock that stock might just go away. It might become full of climaxes and it feels bad. But then again, there's no heals in this deck. This is all full in on the combo, and that combo is still very, very scary. When it goes off, you just might be gone, right? I think there's been quite a few Tokyo Revengers that has been popping up over the regions, right?
Yeah, I think there's been a Tokyo Revengers pop up in the other streams as well. I haven't been able to catch up to them. I needed a bit of sleep.
Very important, very important. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers actually are doing pretty well just with this kind of build. So that's very, very cool. But then next, in our next bracket, we have Zizos. And again, I think we've seen Zizos already playing, maybe not that one. I think it was playing the 8 choice slime build, right?
I believe it was 8 choice slime that we saw him playing yesterday. It was a pretty orthodox type of build, if I remember correctly. You do your level 1 combo, you just keep pushing with that damage. I think he played 4 copies of the early play Shizu, so he can look for a climax while putting a 2-star character on the board, and he'll top it off with the level 3 Rimuru finisher.
Yeah, it's a very top end heavy build, right? Here it is. So we got it here. We saw it on stream against, I think it was Hakase, where stocked up, got the combo ready, and then go multi-attack with the Rimuru and just won the game. I think it's a pretty cool way to get around like the Mushokus, right? You see their rest counter, Rimuru doesn't matter, right? As long as you got the stock, you can just keep on going. And with the 8 choice, it really gets your stock charge going, and then getting a decent hand to go for the finishes, right? So I think overall, it's a very good pick for the current meta. It'll be very interesting to see how far he progresses. But Zizos will be playing against Patrick. So I'm not sure I don't think we saw Patrick on stream either. Patrick is also bringing that Mushoku deck, and he's also got the Looks like the stock swap. Very similar to Kisa's list, actually. When you look
It
at
is quite close to Kisa's list. It isn't playing that 1-1, but I think, yeah, aside from that, we see quite a lot of similarities. Although we didn't see Patrick on stream yesterday, I actually saw Patrick in the NA tournament when I played against him. And yeah, I think Patrick has a very good grasp of what he's doing over here, so I'm sure his games will also be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, so very cool. You know, we got the 8-choice deck versus the deck that kind of wants to build to beat, but then, you know, when you're playing Mushoku, you should know most of the matchups and know how to be very, how do you say it? You can play the way you want versus and the other players and other decks have to deal with you, right? So should be very, very cool. Be interesting to see who progresses from top 8 there. But then we have the last bracket, and the one we will be looking at, right? We have Midi Spring Chan bringing in Bang Dream. So I remember this from Springfest.
Yeah.
Felt bad losing to it. Tell me, Ken, how does this deck really dominate?
Yeah, so I think the highlight of this deck, and many other Bang Dream decks even using slightly different combos, will be the level 3 early play Choo Choo and the 2-1 Pario that go with it. When you have one of each on the board, the Choo Choo hits 13k power with Twin Drive and Hexproof and, you know, basically everything you want on an early play that heals. And that 13k line is really effective against decks like Mushoku or against Hololive, which lets you fight for the board really well. It maintains your position, and you get to discard a card and encore your 2-1 even if it does get answered. So you'll mostly try to be capitalizing on that and then topping it off with your level 3 finisher.
Very, very cool. And who Midi Spring Chan will be fighting against is Stock Swap Games, the last player here, playing the last Danmachi player, right? And this list actually looks very, very straightforward. There's a lot of zeros, there's a lot of ones, a lot of events, and there's a couple of threes, and that's it.
Yep.
Right? It's actually it. No twos, nothing, right? What do you think? Is this Danmachi? We saw a couple of Danmachi yesterday, right? On the Swiss. How is this one different? What makes this one a bit apart?
I think compared to one of the lists that we've seen yesterday, this is playing a level 0, which can give power when it attacks and also lose the side penalty for 1 turn on the turn it's played by paying a cost. And it's also not playing the 2-1 Hestia, which can shuffle cards back from your opponent's waiting room into their deck on play, which is a way that Danmachi typically uses to continue pushing damage when it's able to stick a bit after a refresh, so it can just keep pushing back whatever you've already stuck. Yeah, so looks like Stock Swap Games is opting not to play that, but he does have, you know, the general Danmachi core, so he should be able to work with the vast array of like
just
effects.
Just play a very solid core and just play it that way, right? So it'd be interesting to see how this fares against Bang Dream, right? This seems to be like something that you take against like a Danmachi, but Bang Dream, you know, very, very powerful deck as well. I think the players are ready. I think we're ready. I hope you're ready. If you're not, quickly you gotta grab a drink and then come back, because I think we're gonna head right into the game, start seeing, you know, who's gonna make it out of top 8 between Stock Swap Games and Midi Spring Chan, right? And here we go. We've got Stock Swap Games on the right and Midi Spring Chan on the left. Bang Dream versus Danmachi. How are these early games gonna develop?
Well, I think Stock Swap Games, being the Danmachi player here, is going to be able to develop his level 0 game pretty quickly, compared to Midi Spring Chan, whose level 0 game isn't particularly strong nor weak. So he'll probably wants to be preparing his level 1 and then level 2 play pretty quickly against Danmachi. So looks like Midi Spring Chan is going first and makes a direct attack with a Brainstorm, so I'm assuming that play is to generate a stock for the next turn. Ideally that can be turned into a card advantage with Ricky, but unfortunately that is a Pans trigger, which does not salvage a climax here, as there are no climaxes in the waiting room.
Feels like a pretty weak start, I'd have to say.
Yeah, it's not an ideal start, but I think because he's facing down Danmachi, he kind of has to be able to play a sped up game where if he decides to pass turn 1 and he just takes all the damage going up to the next level, he probably won't be able to make a particularly strong turn. So in order to ensure that he can actually do something next turn, even in the worst of case aces, he does need to make that attack.
And wow, Stock Swap again going for that big combo. We do see this eyes that we haven't seen before. We've seen the bell, right? We've seen the Hestia. This one is a bit more newer, and this one is the Chaser, right?
Yeah, so this card can move in front of an opponent's character before they start attacking, and it also gains power if you have one or fewer other characters, which at the moment Stock Games does not have one or fewer other characters, but by using the effect of the bell, he can both unlock the condition of the power and open up lanes, so he can use the effect of eyes to move in front of a weaker character and ideally stay on the board. So there's a bit of synergy going on there, and it is a pretty good turn 1 play over here.
That's very good. So ideally you just bounce and then move with eyes, right?
Yeah, that is right. But
Very
Mini Spring Fan just did hit level 1 over here, so depending on the strength of his hand, Stock Games using the effect of eyes might not save a character. But we'll see how that goes down.
Is this good for Mini Spring Chandler? Because this now unlocks like a level 1 combo, etc. Right?
But it is not terrible. He does have the level 0 Yukino over here, so he can pay 1 and clock 1 to search for a character. It looks like he searched for another Brainstorm here. So he can ensure that he can keep playing the game. But if he had already had enough level 0s to fight Stock Games board reasonably last turn, I think that it was probably just desirable to stay on level 0. But
Is there a point in the game where the Bang Dream deck is gonna stabilize better versus like what Damachi tries to do?
I think Midi Springtown probably needs to find an opportunity to drop his level 3 Pario and level 2 Choo Choo at a point where Stock Games might struggle to fight his board. But as I was saying that, he just played out triple combo, and if he has the choice over here, I think he won't be struggling on hand size for quite a while. So, with a few decent cancels following up this turn, he may have actually just stabilized pretty quickly.
And this should be a full reverse. Didn't use the the bell effect. There we go. Yeah.
So Stock Game opts to move his character, but it doesn't really affect anything because all of the characters attacking Midi Spring Transport are more or less doing the same thing. Yep. So he's just discarded level 0 Pario and looked at 5 cards to add 2 characters to hand. That's another Brainstorm and the level 1 Torkoal, specifically the one that gives power when it attacks. And he triggers a choice here, which is, well, it's going to bury a Climax 3 cards in, but at least if he takes the stock here, even if he uses 3 stock, he'll still have 1 to work with. Not a bad point to trigger choice.
And I think Midi Spring Chan is going to go through this deck very, very quickly, right? Look at get basically mill 5. I mean, we just started the game.
Yeah. One thing though is that because this level 1, I'm just gonna call her surname, Hiromachi combo, is unable to discard climaxes. In the scenario where you want to mill climax your deck most, typically when you have a lot of climaxes in hand, you can't actually get rid of the climaxes, which can be a bit of a drawback. But looks like that's not going to be too much of an issue over here, and he adds 2 Parios to hand and triggers a card.
I think he's just setting up the level 2s at this point, right?
Yeah, he would like to. He is going through his deck a little bit fast here though, which means that if, depending on the cancels, there might be a chance that it's going to be a bit difficult to early play the Choo Choos just at the right timing, because the condition is that you have 2 or fewer climaxes in the waiting room. So with that current deck thickness, Midi Springchan might be hitting level 1, might be stuck on level 1 after his first refresh. And then he might not be able to fulfill the condition on the following turn. So I just want to be a bit careful about that. But nonetheless, he is still in a good position.
Could I just point out that I didn't see the last trigger, right? But that deck is really thin. And I don't think he's milled that many climax out of the deck, did he?
Yeah, I think we've seen a couple or so, but he's also triggered one.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said earlier, he can't discard climaxes, so there is a possibility there's 1 or 2 in his hand even.
But otherwise, if there isn't, that deck is very compressed.
Yeah, it certainly is.
It's like 1 out, 1 was triggered. I think we saw like 2 or 3 that were milled, right? And then 1 left, 1 was played. So that's like, we know at least where 5 of them are. Where is the last 3?
Yeah.
2 or 3. Right? 2 or 3.
I guess we'll find out this time. So Stock Games is pretty ready to play level 1. He does have double combo at least.
With the bells.
Yeah,
will become the triple.
We just saw him use 1 copy of Firebolt, so at least it's going to be hitting 6k, which is already higher than what the Nanamis on the board are. And
I mean, the Nanamis aren't too big, right?
Yeah, they're only 5.5k on defense, and she doesn't really gain any power on offense either. So she's kind of mostly all in on that utility.
Got a Hestia knife. I feel like a lot of these 1k1 v 1k1 decks are literally just like 2 combos beating each other up, right?
Yeah.
And they're continually getting hand to continue on all the way until level 3, pretty much. That's actually exactly what Stock Game does, because they're not running any 2s. It's just pretty much combo city until level 3.
Yeah. Damachi is definitely kind of like the epitome of that sort of deck, whereas I think the Bangreen deck that Midi Springtown is using isn't as focused on looping the level 1 combo, partly due to accessibility and partly due to the fact that it's not a combo which is particularly strong being used after your first refresh, because after your first refresh your deck typically tends to be a little bit more compressed and you don't want to mill that many cards.
I mean, ideally in this matchup, Midi Spring knows that Stock does not run any form of decompression, right? So you'd want to keep that stock. I mean, it's kind of annoying that the first true you got was a climax, but you know, if you can maintain that stock, you can get a lot of compression just for that. In your opinion, would you actually dig for that 3 stock?
I think if he just naturally finds an opening to play the early play next turn, it's not bad, because he's going to get the full value of the 3 stock that he uses. But if it requires him to do a bunch of things that he doesn't really need to do,
yeah,
like go overhand or you know, use an effect that puts damage into your clock, then I think in that case it's fine just to ignore the card there and, you know, build more stock on top of it, such that the 1 climax loss doesn't really hurt too much.
Yeah, you just kind of want to keep your keeping the compression is the key point in probably this matchup right now. Not just because you know you're against Damachi. It's just, you know, you have the chance, a unique chance in this scenario where they can't touch your stock at all. Yeah. There's so many decks nowadays that can actually do it, but Damachi is that one that actually can't.
Alright, and then Stock Games also has achieved triple combo after that 1 brainstorm hit, which means that yeah, we're probably going to be trading resources for quite a bit. Whether or not Midi Springtown hits level 2 next turn may determine whether Stock Games board is living.
Actually playing another brainstorm there.
Yeah, he's going through his deck pretty fast. I think that's 3 cards left in the deck. So if he does play his climax combo this turn, that won't be going back into his next deck, which isn't too bad. It means that it leaves a door in the waiting room in which he can trigger a gate climax to salvage on a following turn without having to rely on another brainstorm or some kind of milling effect. So it's not too bad. It doesn't really obstruct any of his early plays, because his early plays don't count climaxes in the bin anyway.
Yeah, I mean his state, like his overall game state, is not bad. You know, foreign clock, those aren't going back in the deck. Full field.
Oh, looks like he's not using the combo though. All right, so okay, so it looks like in that case the brainstorm was to maintain hand size.
That changes a lot.
It does change a lot, yeah. Midi Springtown is probably quite relieved to hear that he's not going to be taking that much damage this turn, and
yeah,
it's a pretty comfortable first level 1 refresh.
Yeah, this.
All right.
The damage output suddenly decreased a lot. Hand size to Stock Games looks a bit more kind of precarious.
Yeah, I guess so. But that being said, I think from Stock Games' perspective, he is going second and he does need to make an action which can, you know, flip the situation, because if you just go second and you do the same number of attacks as your opponent, you eventually kind of get outpaced. So going into that aggressive turn 1 play and then going into a turn 2 play, which at least answers Midi Springtown's board, and, you know, maybe one of his bells will come back because Midi Springtown doesn't have that many level 1s in his hand or something. This is probably the right line of play, even though he doesn't have a door.
Interesting. We thought that this was going one way, but, you know, suddenly changed, right? And then the refresh is the firebolt, right?
Yeah, that is a firebolt. So if Stock Games is able to keep or put a level 1 bell on the board again next turn, most likely that firebolt is going to be in the waiting room, and it will add another 1,500 to the bell.
Midi Springtown only at level 1 didn't even clock this time.
Yeah,
good to go.
Looks like he's happy where he is. Alright.
Actually, no cancels coming out last turn as well, so...
Yeah. But with no climax, that means that he's only taking 3 damage, and that's, that's something that he can very easily take.
I'm just wondering, again, we were wondering where the climaxes were. Are there any left? Is it in the hands? So no climax coming out? There it is.
There is a climax. So that means there's 2 climaxes in Midi Spring Tran's stock right now, and a 3rd one in hand at least.
So refreshing max 5.
It's interesting that he chose to salvage the gate climax there as opposed to the choice climax.
Yeah.
I think with a probably less compressed deck in the next round, I thought he might want to get the level 1 choice combo climax, so he can go through his deck and play the climax with damage output.
And so, like you mentioned before, normally you wouldn't want that choice, that climax combo when you're in the second deck, right, when it's more compressed. But in this rare situation, you trigger a gate, you have 1 climax already in the stock, you're refreshing with at most 5, right? Could be more, could even become 4. That's the combo suddenly becomes very, very good to just kind of go through a deck. And like when you miss a clock here as well, your hand size is slightly lower than normal. And we can see Midi Spring Chan's hand size is not too big. Right?
Yeah,
not exactly too big.
It's not huge, but it's playable. Because Sock Games didn't combo last turn, I think he can potentially play to, just play full card advantage role. Usually, once Damachi gets its thing rolling and just combos, it doesn't feel like it's going to run out of hand anytime soon.
Yeah.
But in this particular game state, I think it is possible that Stock Games has to be a bit more careful with his card advantage. So he could tap into that possibility.
And what really helps is one of the bells is still alive. So if there's any form of combo this turn, at least, it could be a bit helpful.
Yeah.
Right? Still have the brainstorms available, double of them, right? So usually, like, using 2 stock though to brainstorm is a bit iffy, right?
Yeah, ideally you want to not use stock and gain cards just by triggering climaxes or something instead, because triggering climaxes a lot of people like avoiding, but at the end of the day, if you brainstorm and you hit a climax, you still get the climax out of your deck, so you may as well use the one that doesn't require resources, and then you can pay it out next turn for an actual brainstorm, and then that's probably what you want to be doing. But looks like over here Stock Games is going for the early play heal, and yeah, it's kind of just playing to his outs. He is able to fight all 3 characters on Midi Spring Chan's board, but with this setup, it looks like Midi Spring Chan is going to be comfortably early playing his Parrier and Choo Choo next turn in order to fight the board.
So this is a very interesting card that we mentioned before, the Takemika Zuchi.
Yeah.
Able to make some more power and just kind of stay alive. Like this entire board can kind of just stay there, right, and absorb some damage.
Yeah. I think the Takemika Zuchi might come up again in a future turn where Stock Games might need the card to fight Midi Spring Chan's early playset.
And then we got the bell as well, the early play bell that you mentioned, able to heal off a damage.
Yeah.
Not big enough though to contest the upcoming board from Bang Dream though, right?
Yeah, that is true, but I think precisely because of that, it was probably really good timing to play it now, because at least in this time you can front attack with a 2-soul character and not have it open a space for your opponent to get a direct attack in.
True.
Yeah, with this way, if Stock Games had waited next turn, it probably wouldn't have been able to contest the board space. So right now is probably the best timing, and he's getting that value in.
I also have to mention that Stock Games actually has like 0 combat tricks. So whatever he puts down, that's how it is, right? You're free. You have early plays. You're free to just front attack anything you want, because there's nothing that will stop it. So
yeah, that's right.
Basically anything that has more power than what's written there or what's on the board is going through.
Yeah. I think typically though, this is just how Damachi is. So at least Stock Games isn't losing too much in like the information warfare area because of the open deck list format. That is more or less just what is expected of Damachi at this point, and it just wants to trade with your opponent in terms of resources. So I think he's
trade
doing
efficiently,
okay.
right?
Yeah, that's correct. funnily enough, despite his name, Stock Swap Games is not playing a Stock Swap in this deck.
I know.
Which Damashi does have a 2-1 event, which isn't a quote unquote true Stock Swap because it shuffles the stock back into the deck and it doesn't put cards into the waiting room, but you know, it is still technically a Stock Swap by the name of the word. So yeah,
it is it's what you call mind game.
Yeah, I guess that's where the information is getting hidden.
So we have the early play coming out already.
Yep. So that's double Chuchu, and I think if he plays one Parier and then uses one more stock, that will pay out the climax towards the bottom of the stock, which we said earlier that because Stock Swap Game isn't playing Stock Swap, accumulating stock should be pretty powerful. But I think when you're down to this amount of stock, you know, paying just an additional 2 more for a for an efficient-ish play is pretty effective.
Yeah, it is. You know, you're building towards your win con anyway, right? And in a way, these early plays are also sustained. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. So yeah, Stock Swap Games hasn't played a climax this game, so I think Meaty Fan can kind of just capitalize on that and heal down, keep himself in a healthy damage range to not be in Hestia's lethal range, maintain his board and just win through that.
Here's the thing: do you actually need it? Because in a way, right, Dunmuch is very powerful on the offense, so no matter how big you make your card, can't it be contested?
Yeah, they can somewhat be contested, but it's not actually easy to consistently hit multiple 13k lines, even in Danmachi, because it requires you to use stuff like the Pyonkichi or Rabbit Armor event, and have Firebolts in the waiting room. And with the amount of milling you do, it's pretty hard to consistently pull off all of those every single turn. So a well-timed level 3 early play combo can actually get you in the right spot. Right, Meaty Fan is using. Okay, so it looks like he's using the activated effect of the Brainstorm to discard 2 cards and send the Brainstorm to the waiting room and play out a character whose level is equal to or lower than his own. And he's chosen the Astonishing Speed Pario level 2, and that has granted his level 3 Twin Drive, which means that he can pay out the climax, but he's just through 1 more. So, well, you could say that he was going to trigger that climax anyway. So now he only has 2 climaxes in stock as opposed to 3.
Oh, that's
yeah, it's not too hot. But Stock Swap Games did just take the damage, so you know, if this keeps up, maybe it'll be all right.
You can Twin Drive here again.
Yep.
And second, nothing. Okay. It is kind of pushing that climax very far away. But I think you have to go through your deck a bit more now, right?
Yeah, that is true. I think, but Meaty Fan is on 2-2 right now, but with the Encore Step heal of the 2 Chuchu, sorry, he puts himself down to 2-0. So with just 1 cancel here, he's still going to be on a decent amount of, decent amount away from lethal range of Hestia. And Stock Swap Game still has 2 Hestias in the clock, which, he has to either heal off or salvage after he levels up, which,
he doesn't have a lot of stock.
Yeah,
that's the issue too.
Yeah, that is definitely potentially a problem.
Yeah, but it's just like, Midi Spring is just not in that range, right? He's got a really, really good buffer right now.
Yeah, despite the fact that he has just kind of triggered an unfortunate number of climaxes in the previous turn, he's probably not that uncomfortable with where he is. And
yeah, it's fine. Like sometimes you gotta take damage. Right? You gotta take damage. If you're on 2-0, it's kind of the perfect time because you just have that beautiful buffer that you can work with. Yeah.
So Stock Swap Games has played a level 0 Hestia, and I think he tried to target the level 3 Chuchu as a card that can't move to another position, but Pario is granting Chuchu the effect that she can't be targeted by effects. So as that is not a legal target, it looks like he has chosen the 2-1 Pario instead.
I just have to point out, for these 2 players, Meaty Chan and Stock Swap Games, this is actually their first top cut. So it's
oh really?
This is the first time and they're already facing off already.
Yeah, it can't share the glory, I guess.
Well, they've got the cut, right? They've got
Yeah.
the top cut. You know, it just comes down to, does it become the top 4,
Yeah.
or second place, or even first place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're seeing some great games from these two players, able to adapt to the situation, able to actually Midi Spring able to show off Bang Dream as well. I think a lot of people do know about Danmachi, but Bang Dream feels like this kind of sleeper set a bit. You know, it's usually gets overshadowed by, I feel like, a lot of the other sets in the format, but it's just also, you know, a series that's just been continuously improving in Weiss Schwarz in many different ways.
Yeah, it is in a kind of interesting spot. It actually is one of those English sets which isn't restricted in English, but is restricted in Japanese. And you know, given that the English player base is able to just, you know, take advantage of this as much as they like, it always just doesn't seem to be the top deck since it was the last time. And you know, people all have their different twists on it, so it is interesting to see what they bring. But yeah, it's definitely an interestingly positioned deck.
Yeah, and kind of moving through the bands, right?
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
it was a Poppin' Party, right? Now it's a...
Yeah, now we've got mostly Razor Suilin and Morphonica cards are, I think, the popular ones. But yeah, we've had Poppin' Party being the meta deck, we've had Roselia being the meta deck. Yeah, we might have another
What's
rotation.
next? What do you think is next?
I think I have a friend who really likes Afterglow, and I think he's hoping that Afterglow becomes the next meta deck. But
Well,
at the same time,
you know, Happy Hello World, could be, that's already pretty good. That's the best deck in Vanguard. So.
Oh,
And we got the bell coming down again. But,
Right.
So now we're talking that situation, right? You said before.
yeah,
Bell doesn't hit very big.
yeah.
And that line, how big is that front row for?
So with one Parrier out and a back row Global 500, I believe the two Chuchus are 13,500 power, and the Parrier should be on 11k. So this card should still not quite be big enough with only 10k at one marker and a climax.
This is the first climax coming out from Stockswap Games as well.
Looks like he's opted not to combo here, or either was unable to, but the damage push is probably something he needs to do because he just saw Midi Spring Can lose a few climaxes.
You gotta take advantage of the situation. It just feels, you know, really bad. The first time you play the climax, you have no bells available, and those bells might actually be pretty good in this situation, right?
Oh, looks like Stockswap Games has opted to side.
Ooh.
All right.
These are definitely fronting though.
Yeah,
Triggers
this
the door,
is definitely a front. So triggers the door and salvages Hestia, which is one of the copies that he healed off.
going for two damage sticks.
Yep.
That door trigger actually pretty good, right? Able to just add a few more.
Yep.
Ooh, that one.
Double trigger into double trigger.
I mean, gets back another Hestia.
Yeah.
Damage goes in, but you know, all plays just been double triggering.
Yeah. And Midi Spring-chan is kind of just in that spot where he wants to be. He's taken a bit of damage, but you know, the 2 heal really paid off. He's not leveling up this turn. He has some opportunity to pay out the climaxes that he triggered, and I think hopefully for him, you know, he's gonna be able to push Stockswap Games to level 3, where Midi Spring-chan can really threaten game with the level 3 Bushiroad combo, which I think there's one in stock and one in clock right now. So he's kind of gotten pretty ready to set up.
Yeah, the Bushiroad combo has way more reach compared to the Hestia combo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and there's technically only one climax, I think, I think he triggered 2, yeah, the second one. So, yeah, there's 2, but he's opted just kind of keep it. Doesn't want to touch that stock anymore. At some point, if he's able to get like a refresh here, it's not too bad as well, because he'll have 5 cards in like the clock. Decent amount of stock in hand, yeah.
So, yep, Stockswap Games has checked 2 cards and he's taking a refresh. And I think in terms of just pure damage output, Midi Spring-chan could win this turn. Although it seems pretty unlikely.
Bit unlikely,
Pretty
but
unlikely.
it's happened.
Yeah, it's not impossible. So yeah, I guess Stockswap Games will just have to hope that, you know, the climaxes in his deck don't betray him and we'll sit at the bottom together.
I mean, this is swinging for 4 damage, right?
Yeah, this is for 4 damage, I believe.
Oh, was it 4?
Oh,
So
might
1,
be
2,
a 3.
3?
No,
Threes
it's
are
3,
good.
sorry.
But
With 4 included.
With the refresh, it's a
It's
4.
4. Yeah.
And then the next two is like 3 and 2, right?
Yeah, but because Mini Spring Shan can opt to use the Twin Drive effect, he might be able to get a little bit more damage than what is normally expected.
Ooh, choosing
That's
dots
a 3,
here.
but yeah, that is 4, so that is exact lethal. And 1, 2, 3, and oh, that is game.
Wow! You were right.
Yeah, there is enough damage on the board, and with Stock Games double trigger last turn, and you know he didn't pay 3 encore to pay them out. It was, you know, not exactly unexpected, I would say.
Yeah, but that, you know, that's rough. You know?
Yeah,
Losing,
you know.
You're at 2-3. You're like, you know, this turn, you know, as long as I cancel once, I have a level 3 game.
Yeah.
But in that situation,
It's not the greatest way to go out on your first top 8, but you know, I think Stock Games will probably make, you know, another top 8 and like
that's
anytime
right.
soon.
I think Stock Games still played it pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, like depending, you know, the situations weren't perfect for him. But he was able to manage that, right, and do just at least put up a good fight, right. And then here we got to see, you know, what Bang Dream can actually do. You know, kind of a sleeper set, but when you can see its power, right? Its power, it's it's not something that you want to underestimate, right?
Yeah.
I think the power lines at level 2 is actually quite strong as well.
Yeah, it's very well positioned into the metagame because the 13k line with a little bit more if you want it to be, can really is 1k higher than for example a level 3 Kanaha from Hololive with 2 brainstorms behind it.
Yeah.
It's usually bigger than any level 2 with a 2k support behind it from Mushoku. So yeah, it's for a relatively easy setup. You can hit these really good numbers, and then you can keep cleaning your stock out with the Twin Drive. If your board survives, all you need to do is keep your deck compression. So yeah, it really is a solid game plan.
Yeah, and that's it's being solid. One of the most important parts of going into these tournaments, these like 7-round tournaments.
Yeah.
Even at next, I think there's BCS next week, right? Those might go to 8 rounds, right? And you want to have like a solid choice, a solid pick to kind of a consistent pick to take you through all of them. We've seen Mushoku being like the consistent pick that a lot of people choose. You know, there's some parts about that deck that, you know, people still don't like, right? Compared to the other standby decks that they might be used to. And you have some other kind of choices out there that you might like instead. And I think Bang Dream is definitely one of the picks that you could take. So overall, quite a strong showing from Mini Spring Shan, making it to top 4. It'll be very interesting to see how far that Bang Dream deck goes. Any last thoughts?
Oh no, you know, we'll probably see you again in the next one, which will be the semifinals.
Yeah, we'll be right back with the semifinals. Hey everyone, welcome back to now top 4 of WS AO region. Ken.
Yep.
That was a shocking ending last time, but what do you think? What do you think went through the top 8?
Oh, what did I think I went through? Well,
Guess.
I know at
Guess
least
one.
I know at least one Mushoku went through.
Yes, that's a good guess. Let's take a look who else went through and what else went through. Right. So here we go. At the top, we have Fresh Cabbage being Kisa. And then we got Ufmi beating Chairman. So right there, we have a nice Mushoku versus Hololive matchup, right? And at the bottom, we've got Patrick, SBTCG Patrick, beating Zizoz. And then we saw on stream Midi Spring Chan beating Stock Games. So there we have a Mushoku versus a Bang Dream matchup. So we've got 2 Mushokus making it through, right?
Yeah.
And we might even have a Mushoku mirror, or can the non-Mushokus rise up and take it? So what do you think, Ken?
Oh, you know, I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I think both Mushoku decks slightly different as well.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what we're going to be looking at in this semi-finals, though. And we're going to be going to the top of the bracket. Here we have Fresh Cabbage's deck. This is the Mushoku with the pulls, with the early play heals. No stock swap though, so it is something again that we've mentioned before that can be taken advantage of, but it still has a lot of the good stuff that you expect from a Mushoku deck. Actually, the other thing that is noticeable here is there's no 2/2 errors, right?
Yeah.
Which allows you to stabilize a bit more.
Yeah, so against matchups like Danmachi or even the Mirror, where your your Tutu Gillian is likely to get answered pretty quickly. I think the Tutu Eris is pretty important, but it looks like this might not be one of those matchups, so he might not worry too much about that.
That's right. And then let's swap over to Ufmi. This will actually be the first HoloLive game that we're going to see in AO at all. I think there's been a few more in the other regions. But yeah, this one was the Botan Marine deck. And it's got the core going. Good core. It works. How do you think this matches up into the this matchup?
Well, I think with at least one copy of the Watame, he does have some options over here to fight against Mushoku's board. The fact that the level 1 Botan can hit 7k without Climax, so 8k with a little bit of a push can try and contest the level 1 Eris. I think overall, Ufmi has some pretty good shots here to fire against the Mushoku deck.
That's very nice. And speaking of the players, we're ready to go. They're ready to go. We're ready to go. Deck's ready to go. So let's go. We've got Ufmi on the right, Cabbage on the left. It is a United States mirror match, or an NA mirror match. AO plays. I think Midi Spring is AO player, I think. The last one.
Entirely sure.
Yeah, but that's looks like the Americans are doing well. And in this matchup, actually, whoever goes first is very strong here.
Yeah.
Right? Normally, you do say going first is pretty good, but in Mushoku, being able to set up one turn to be able to start denying a HoloLive some key advantage or resource pieces with the Lilia, it's painful.
Yeah, especially because the power of the level 0 Rudius is tied to your hand size. If you go second, you can't really go double attack plus Lily in the back row. So going first to be able to deny the effect of the level 0 Aqua is pretty important. So Cabbage makes one attack here, builds one stock. So if he gets shot to level 1 next turn, he can still play out one level 1 Eris.
Yeah, and Ufmi. This is actually Ufmi's first top as well.
Oh, alright.
So Cabbage has topped twice.
Okay.
In 2022, apparently,
really?
Springfest. So both, I'd say, I'm not sure if they're relatively new players, but in terms of like the topping stage, Cabbage does have some more experience. But hey, this is the time to make waves. Right? And we've got a Fubuki being developed here.
Yeah. So that is also a card which has an effect which activates when it's sent to the waiting rooms. So Fresh Cabbage might be able to use Alelia here, but looks like he's not going for it so far. It's making one attack, slowing the game down. He's going to be able to play out 2/1/1s as soon as he hits level 1 now, given that he has the cards in his hand.
And that is the runner, the Rudius runner. The Fubuki able to go off now, and I think they call this there's a special name that sometimes people call this card?
I like to call this type of effect Fuka, but what it actually does is when it sends to the waiting room, you can discard a card and look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and add a level 1 or higher card. It's to just differentiate it from other effects which look at the top 4 and make it clear that it only adds level 1 and higher cards, including events.
Yeah, so just a bit of Weiss Schwarz lingo knowledge for everyone out there in case you start playing and wonder what people are talking about. So let's kind of talk about, normally when we look at decks nowadays, turn 2, even turn 1 if you're going second, the front row is packed and ready to go. Right? What's the implications of Cabbage wanting to take this slow?
Yeah, so Fresh Cabbage doesn't really need to speed the game up because ideally what he wants to do is he wants to go into Ufmi's level 1 either with a board set up such that Ufmi won't be able to get a reverse with his level 1 combo, or just wants to run keep his runners so he can dodge the level 1 combo even though the runner itself was going to get reversed. So yeah, with Ufmi only making 1 attack per turn in response to Cabbage's 1 attack per turn, I think Cabbage is pretty comfortable right now. He might opt here though to just try triple attack, and gain the stock while he can while getting direct attacks. He's not losing cards very much because he's only making 1 attack per turn and his runner has survived. So he might see this as an opportunity to push, but looks like he's playing a standby to bring out a level 0.
Ooh.
That's very interesting.
Is he climax flooded in his hand? Usually that's
I
what it means.
would have to assume so, but...
And Ufmi actually getting to level 1 first. This is actually kind of important for Ufmi. The Botan does require a reverse. And at some points, when you're playing against the Mushoku decks, they get very, very big. Right?
Yeah.
But being able, like, in a way, though, the Botan's not exactly that small. Botan swings by itself for like 7k as long as there is a card in the memory. And there are ways to put things in memory with this deck pretty easily. So it'll be interesting to see if he has to do that. But it's only during your turn that it gets the 3k. So that kind of helps in hitting over some of the lines that Mushoku can bring. But the perfect time to kind of just take advantage of Mushoku is when you're level 1, they're level 0. None of their things can really hit over you. And if Ufmi can tri-lane Botan level 1 climax combo here, we are in a pretty good place to get 2 reverses off, right?
Yeah, well, he does need to go triple Botan for 2 reverses, otherwise he can only get 1. But, you know, Ufmi has not lost too many cards from hand with that early game. Looks like he's probably only going to go for 1 lane, or, 1 lane of reversing with combo, because...
He does need to get a memory,
yeah,
right? So it could be that he's just trying to develop something to the memory. But if he's calling the Botan already, then there's definitely 1 combo.
Yeah. Fortunately, Botan is big enough to fight the level 0 that Fresh Cabbage has got on the board so far. So with the level 1 level 1... Polka, yes, sorry. Level 1 Polka bringing a copy out of the waiting room. It's still going to be able to get the reverse and then sets up the next few copies to have enough power. So pretty good position, I'd say. On the other hand, Fresh Cabbage could have kind of avoided this if he only attacked once last turn. Maybe clocked away the climax or waited a bit. But yeah, with one direct attack and 1 front attack, it doesn't... I would say that he still feeds into 1 while giving up a direct attack, where if he's got a climax in hand and he's sort of, you know, not expecting cancels, he might have wanted to just make 3 attacks instead.
So this is kind of interesting. He is attacking this first, maybe because he's afraid of, like, possibly a counter stopping this play. How big is that? I think
I think she's just 3k without any other effects, and then 4k with the climax included. So, as she's only finding a 1/5 power character, I don't think it would be a counter stopping it, but he does get to look through his deck first. So if there was a card in his deck that he was worried about triggering away that he wants to search.
Okay. Because usually you'd want to hit with that last, right? Because then you get the better compression.
Yeah, so if you want to avoid triggering climaxes, it's generally better to attack with Botan last. But in other words, that means that if you do want to trigger climaxes for card advantage or something, it's better to attack with Botan first because she pulls out climaxes. So, you know, in this turn, she, you know, Botan didn't lead to a climax being triggered, but I guess Ufmi just wanted to get that Polka in hand as quickly as possible, and he was able to do that. He's pretty set up for next turn.
And the Botan goes to memory because of Polka's effect. It's what's scary though is you know, had to put a Matsuri up to the front and couldn't reverse the Rudius, which is a bit unfortunate. But you know, the Matsuris actually do come in handy like later on because they can grant power as well, and that will really help in breaking Cabbage's boards. And it doesn't look like Cabbage has that much on that he can develop.
Well, yeah, the fact that he played a standby last turn to bring out a level 0 effectively vanilla as it only has come into play effects seems like Cabbage isn't looking too good in the hand quality department. But, you know, it could really just go anywhere from here. He might trigger some more climaxes. So,
got the errors.
Yep, so he's milled 2 level 0s. He's going to get the blue brainstorm into hand, and then he will bring out a 2/2 global 1k, as that is the only 2/2 in this deck.
That Eris will be like 8/5 now, right?
Yeah, so the Eris is 8/5, which is still somewhat in range, actually, for
It is
Botan.
very in range, actually.
Yeah, but on top of that, Fresh Cabbage does have 2 level 0s up on the board, so if Ufmi wants to just get reverses, he can, you know, pick off on those level 0s. If he wants to, you know, push down Fresh Cabbage's card advantage, then he can attack the level 1. He does have the option here, and because Fresh Cabbage's board isn't really that developed, as we said earlier.
Getting a few cancels right there.
Yeah, alright, so I guess the Botan compression paid off in that way, which is
So
Probably better.
here's the thing. I'm a bit worried for Cabbage here. Okay, 8-5 errors, pretty cool, right? 2 lines, very easy to run over. But one of the things when you're playing this Hololive deck is you have to think, when you're playing against Mushoku, how do I annoy him as much as possible? How do I break that board as much as possible? And when you only present 1-8-5, that is very easy to break. You just have to focus most of your resources on that one line, and then your other lines are already going to be winning, right? And that puts a big damper on Cabbage's side, because next turn, you know what's better than just moving up a Giz lane? Is having that 1-1 there as well. If you don't have that, your front row is empty. You might have to pay 3 stock to keep something alive, but then you'll have to commit more cards from your hand down in order to like make up attackers, as well as, you know, put something in the back as well, just to power up Giz lane, or that's just a measly 7k, right? So
I was just about to say that if Ufmi plays the polka that he searched last time to bring out the 1-0 Botan, which was the last card he triggered and paid out right now, and then rested the back row Brainstorm to give 1-5 instead of Brainstorming, it would make exactly 8-5 to match that Eris. But looks like he's going to want to Brainstorm instead, which, you know, might mean that he just has another way of pumping power. Might be alright.
If he has more Matsuris, it's
perfect. Yeah. And he just hit on his Brainstorm, so he can salvage a Matsuri if he so needs. He'll be up in card advantage. He'll still be able to pump the 1-5 and make all the plays, but looks like Ufmi is contemplating, and he's getting the Watame level 3, so that is
gonna set up for a late turn play.
Yeah, if he's able to drop that next turn though, I think it would be pretty effective. It can probably remove a 2-soul character in the front row if Fresh Cabbage is able to get one out, while also fighting the other one that is there, so...
Has a polka as well.
Yeah,
so this polka actually does quite a lot of work. Going for the Nene. The Nene is actually just a reverser, a level 1 reverser. Straight up.
Okay, so it looks like it has an alarm effect, but alarm effects don't matter if they're not in the clock. So yeah, Ufmi is going to be using that to fight Fresh Cabbage's level 1. And yeah, what I said earlier about the you know, the level 1 combo play doesn't really matter, because you can just guarantee that you can get a reverse regardless of counters at the points.
Yeah, and a lot of decks kind of pushing, running, or at least the Hololive builds, kind of putting in a few, just 1 or 2 level 1 reverses to just combat this this Mushoku matchup.
Yeah,
right? Being able to just, you know, if we can run over the Erises, but at the same time, if they're too big, we can still run our reverses in and get them. And actually not getting the correct climax, playing the correct climax is just a Marine, but it just, from Ufmi's side, it looks like, let's just keep on pumping that damage and hope for the best, right? Make that board as unstable as possible while pushing damage, right?
Cabbage has accumulated a pretty good amount of stock here, so he does have the option of paying through to Encore at maybe this turn or in a future turn in the game, but he will have to probably utilize that at the rate Ufmi is fighting his board. On top of that, with the number of climaxes, or the fact that he's used the one at level 0, we can kind of assume Fresh Cabbage probably doesn't have too many left in deck, and, you know, the door being played here for as a global soul should probably put Fresh Cabbage up to level 2 this turn.
I don't know. I want to see what Fresh Cabbage can do here. Might be as easy just canceling.
Oh, that's 1 cancel.
It's pretty good. That's a good way to start. But it was just off the top, right?
Yeah, it was off the top. So the rest of his deck is just almost the same thickness, just -1 climax. He might just stick the next 2. Yep, that one's in.
And then the last one is trigger for 3. So this is actually a level 2 possibility.
Yep, and
it does. So Fresh Cabbage going all the way to 2 in 1 turn.
Yeah.
It's been 1 turn, those 1 turn games, right?
Yeah. And then this really does set up into that Watame. So it's a bit hard to see what Ufmi's hand size is, but if you can play out the Watame next turn, it most likely will be that Fresh Cabbage will refresh his deck this turn and then play out a 2-soul character in the front, or he would just trigger standby and put a 2-soul character in front. But in either case, Ufmi can bottom deck that card and then run over the 2/2 Ghislaine, because it has 500 less power than Watame. So it's going to be refreshing here. Yeah, and then so Ufmi can make a 2-for-1 play there.
Yeah, the 2-for-1 play will be very, very strong, and that's why people just like running the Watames and not really have to worry about the stock. Because if you look at Ufmi's stock zone, there's around like 4 cards there.
Yeah.
And you'd say that's pretty low, but one of the nice things about Hololive is that it doesn't really need a lot of stock to function because your finisher is so efficient, right? And also that this enables you to just play a very, very kind of, back and forth game similar to what Dunmachi wants to do, except with less events, right? And that can add, because of the less events, it can just add to more consistency in the deck. So it will be very interesting to see how Cabbage kind of recovers from here, if they can stabilize or not. Because, a lot of these, Cabbage does run the early play heals, which can help in this situation now.
Yeah, but because the early play heal does have to discard one to heal, and then Ufmi's most likely going to out it, the 2-for-1 sort of becomes a 3-for-1 play, and Ufmi can keep pushing down Cabbage's card advantage. And looks like Cabbage doesn't have too many fantastic cards to bring out of the waiting room right now through standby.
Yeah, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's kind of how it is sometimes with Bushiroad and basically all standby decks. But one of the big things with Bushiroad is that it just doesn't have that amazing grade 3s to stand by out, level 3s to stand by out compared to other series, and that's a contributing factor. That's why people are running like the pulls, just have like better targets. But even so, pull sometimes isn't the best, right?
Yeah, sometimes he loses you climaxes even though you want to cancel. So,
Yeah.
Things happen, but I think but yeah, as you said, a lot of the more conventional, orthodox, or popular builds of Mushoku tend to play level 3s, which are more just finisher focused, whereas and kind of let the level 2s do the work in terms of fighting for board. Whereas Paul kind of just doesn't really do that. He does keep cementing the board.
True. And Ufmi going up to level 2 here, able to unlock the Watames now.
Yeah.
And I mean, is the better target going for the bottom decking the early play, or is it the Gizlane?
I think you want to bottom deck the early play because it just has more power than Ghislaine. If you front the Ghislaine, it's only 9k, but if you bottom deck the Ghislaine and front the level 3 early play, it's 10k. So just because Watame is 9.5, it's probably better to bottom deck the level 3. And
standby coming out, getting another Ghislaine here, right? And that level 2 suddenly becomes 10k in the front.
Yeah. So that does actually affect the next turn Watame play, but it's interesting that Cabbage decided to play over that level 0 because I don't think he's actually used the effect of the card ever since he played it down.
He used it just then. But I mean, I assume he's just putting it in the back just in case he doesn't trigger a standby.
I suppose so. Yeah.
So I think Ufmi can still contest though with the Watame. He can still bottom deck the early play, and with the Matsuri support, still run over his lane, forcing out a backup, which is important. Matsuri going for the brainstorm though, and Kit's won.
Yeah, I think Ufmi needs to get a bit more card advantage because Watame does require a full board in order to be early played.
Yeah, and Ufmi did take a lot of damage that previous turn. Basically took an entire level as well. But we've seen situations where you can the Marine high-end just can totally win back games.
Yeah, Ufmi just needs to get Fresh Cabbage to a range where Marine can run away with the game. So it's probably going to be doing that by gaining a direct attack using the level 3 Watame. Hope that he doesn't see a climax on the top.
Yeah. But the problem is, we said before that Marine doesn't require a lot of stock, right? Basically needs 4, right? And it kind of just sorts itself out. But that also means that you don't have any leeway in how you want to do that turn. So we're talking about Ufmi doesn't really have much stock left. If he continues using things like that, like for this Watame, for example, we could be in a bad situation. And the Watame goes off. Success. Big success.
So that can bottom deck a card in the front row, and then he can rest the other Brainstorm to give 1,500 power, allowing the Watame to fight the level 3. So, yeah, Fresh Cabbage's board is getting dismantled each turn.
And if if Ufmi is committing here, right? If he's committing to kind of breaking boards with the Watame already, if Cabbage can't recover, right, the counters that he has become less useful. Right? We're talking about the Rudius counter. That is a big factor to be careful of with when you're playing Hololive, because you don't want your Marines to be rested.
Yeah.
And usually, like, what you can do is with the Watame is you can also save it for your finisher turns as well, and they're just gonna break one part of the board, and then the other parts you can go for like a side and then a front, and that usually works out. A cancel here is actually huge.
Yeah, taking the 3 and canceling that 3 is a pretty big difference too.
And no fear, either this is a side or this is actually a front. So no fear from Ufmi's side, not afraid of like the anti-change counter.
So and Trigger has a pants here, so he can grab his level 3 combo.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep. So now he can dedicate his top 3 effects from Marine just to looking for more copies of Marine or healers. As he's
that is a cancel. That is a huge cancel.
Yeah, I think it's a bit feels so bad for a bit.
Yeah, only one attack going through, and the big attack's not going through.
Yeah, and both of the attacks which cancelled exactly on the 3rd card after triggering a soul icon. So, yeah, I think Ufmi wasn't too happy about that, but you know it happens. So
it is what it is.
Yeah, you'll have to accept and move on.
And getting the finisher Gizlane as well, the level 3. Just moving up the Gizlane already, shortcutting. Knows what he wants to do. Botan goes to memory, so there's a bunch of open slots on Ufmi's side of the board. Technically not too bad, depending on how many climaxes are gone. We do know that Ufmi last turn triggered a gate and got back a door. So light turning on as well, pretty good.
Yeah.
Easier to see cards.
Yep.
Also, pro tip, you know, makes your camera look nicer too. So yeah, there we go. But next, like depending on how much you're out, you know, Ufmi could be in a pretty good position. Just the extra damage might equate to more cancels.
Ooh, interestingly, Fresh Cabbage plays a 1/1 here and then Brainstorm, so I thought it would probably Brainstorm first, but anyhow, it does pay out the climax, and I'm not sure if he's trying to combo this turn, but if he combos...
Might be trying to mill out.
Yeah, it might be that.
There it is, the combo right there. Hits a climax, hits a 3.
Yep, so he can salvage any character that he likes.
And probably just the finisher, right?
Finisher, maybe? Oh, looks like he's getting an early play.
Early play.
So it looks like Fresh Cabbage is expecting to stay on level 3 for another turn.
Yeah.
Sorry, level 2, not level 3. And then he has brought out a Ghislaine, so he is ready to fight the board back / deal damage with the combo, should he have a climax next turn.
So triggers a Ghislaine as well. This is going for 3. Cancels off the top from Ufmi's side.
Yep, that's a good start.
But you want that last cancel, right?
That's for the maximum compression. You would want to cancel deeper, but you know, a cancel is still a cancel.
Cancel like cabbage, pretty much. Second, and that is not great. All the mells as well going to damage. And going to level 3. So the clock is ticking for Ufmi.
Yeah, depending on how many heals he has left in his hand and deck, he might have to go for a pretty aggressive play next turn.
I feel like if he can cancel the next one, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, if he cancels the next one, he can probably just heal once. But...
yeah, heal down once, try and push Cabbage to like 2-5, and then turn after that, triple Marine, hope for the best. Yeah. The last one's a standby. Ooh. Able to either get out like the assist, the level 3 assist Roxy, or replace the front row with something good. Or even just call out another level 3 Ghislaine if he has it in the waiting room. Lots of choices. What would you go for here?
That's a hard question. I will definitely replace the level 1. I think it depends whether or not I have the level 3. But
going for the level 2 Ghislaine.
If I had the level 3 climax combo, I think I would just put the level 3 combo in the back. And push for game next turn. So
actually just taking it.
Yeah, with me, we'll have to make a decision here on what he wants to do, how he wants to win the game.
I don't think he has enough stock to win the game.
No, he doesn't have the stock to win the game this turn, but he also can't really afford to heal, because if he heals here, he only gains 3 stock for this turn. And then with 3 stock, he can only go into double Marine. where I think you'll really need triple Marine to end the game. So, kind of a dilemma here.
I feel like you just can't Marine anyway, right? At the moment, you have to heal.
Yeah, you'll have to go into your next turn.
You can't triple Marine right now. There's no way.
Yeah, you'll have to consider your next turn. But if he does have the level 1 mill, he has a chance of making 1 stock. So that may be one option that he wants to explore. But I'm not entirely sure whether or not he has a mill in his hand. It seems a bit unlikely. All right, but...
Playing a Shion down. And...
Alright, so I think this Shion is a bottom deck bomb. Yeah, and I can reduce the level of your opponent's character. So it's a way of getting, it's a way of removing your opponent's 1/1s as well. So
there's no 1/1s on the board.
Yeah, not anymore. But I guess if he had used this in the early game, he would have had an opportunity to.
So we have the Miko searching for the Suisei that can heal. So this kind of works out. So what you do here, you play the Suisei, you heal 1 to stock, and then you attack 3 times, and that's enough for triple Marine. And then you pray that you cancel a lot.
Yeah.
Discarding the climax as well, just trying to maximize every potential. And like, here's the hard part: is you don't want to hit Cabbage to level 3.
Yeah.
Then he does his combo, and you don't want him to set up level 3s in the front. You want to be able to, not worry about rest counters. But Ufmi is kind of playing himself into that position where he doesn't have the luxury to be afraid of rest counters, right?
So yeah, he probably just does have to front. But even if Fresh Cabbage uses the rest counter and doesn't hit level 3, he does have one level 3 Ghislaine that's in the back row from a standby. So he can use that to burn his opponent next turn, should the opportunity arise. So even if it's kind of regardless of whether Fresh Cabbage hits level 3 or not, he does have an opportunity to do an additional instance of damage.
Yeah, I'm just mean no triple.
Yeah, there won't be a triple, probably not double either. So at this moment, Ufmi kind of just has to deal, try and stick as much damage as he can, hope he cancels, and then top it off the next turn.
Yeah, going for the power pump for Matsuri. The Suisei, actually a bit bigger than normal early plays, right?
She actually gains more power than normal early plays, but has 500 less because she's allowed to ignore the color condition. So she's 11k on offense, which is similar to other cards with similar effects. But he attacks with the Suisei here first, so even if Fresh Cabbage wants to use a rest counter, he only rests 1, so probably not worth it.
Takes the 2.
The 2, yep. That is something that Ufi really needed.
And then Ufi just needs to hit. So Ufi cannot pass an attack as well.
He definitely can't afford to, yeah.
Yeah. So ideally, Cabbage will cancel one of the 1 attacks. And then Ufi can generate the 4 stock required for the triple Marine next turn.
Issue with that is, though, that Fresh Cabbage is playing the level 0 Rejoad, which allows him to clock himself during the main phase. So even at 2 and 5, he might be able to clock draw and then use Rejoad to hit himself up to level 3.
But in a way, if he has a Rejoad, right, he could do it from 4.
Yeah, he could. And with the amount of resources that Fresh Cabbage has, it's definitely possible for him to, take the -1 or -2 if he wants to. So right. I think at this point, Ufmi just has to pray that, he's going to deal enough damage to win the game.
Actually, is Cabbage going to refresh as well?
Cabbage looks close to refreshing.
Trigger climax for 2.
Yeah, well,
and it's a gate. I don't think he can afford to get anything.
Yeah. Oh, was that a side attack?
Oh, he's side. Oh, that's
all right.
Not bad.
That's interesting. Well, Fresh Cabbage is going to refresh soon, it looks like, and because Mushoku doesn't have any early play heals. Oh, sorry, it does have early play.
Cabbage
heals.
actually plays.
Sorry, my bad about that. So it looks like he might have to try and push a game against 2 and 5, maybe 2 and 4, and he doesn't really have any ways of playing around rest counters. So aside from side attacking, but side attacking does decrease your damage output. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Ufmi, but, with enough cancels, if he can cancel, enough times this turn, and then the next turn as well, then, yeah, that's fine as well.
So. I mean, if the Ghislaine stay, or Cabbage really moves up 1 level 3, right, you can do side, and then front with 3 Marine, and you're doing, 2-1, 2-1, and then, 2-3 damage at minimum.
So that's 11 damage, which is enough to end the game. because right now, Fresh Cabbage is, I think, 2 and 4, so that he is 10, realistically 900 refresh point away from hitting level 4. So yeah, it is enough damage output. It's just the number of times that Fresh Cabbage has to cancel against that is significantly lowered because of the soul reduced by side attacking.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, right, Cabbage has quite a lot of stock. This would be a pretty good time to stock swap him, but unfortunately, Ufmi just doesn't have, you know, the resources to do that. And also taking a climax out as well is quite rough when you want to cancel at least 3 times this turn.
Yeah, well, he still has at least 3 climaxes in the deck. So, you know.
I mean, we've seen situations, right? As Weiss players, you would know that triple cancel is never too far away.
Yeah, it's only impossible if you don't have 3 climaxes in your deck. So.
That's right. And even then, it might not be impossible.
Yeah, you might just go into your next deck and then refresh over your... Sorry, cancel over your refresh, so yeah.
That's right. So, moving up to level 3, refreshing a climax as well from Cabbage. That's good. That's good. If you're quite happy with that.
Yep.
The only issue, here is if Cabbage plays out the early play and moves that early play up. And that is technically the correct play, because you would deny a side attack.
Yep.
And unless you have this like weird idea where you go, I want to save my Ghislaine for the next turn and do like a super triple, then you might swap like the 3s around, because Ghislaine's technically not great on defense, even though she's 11k right now, right?
Yeah, so she's kind of designed to be a card that can win back the board on offense, and on defense she's not tiny such that she'll be reversed by level 0s, but yeah, most 2-soul characters will be able to scale her pretty easily.
Yeah, and this is the correct play, moving up to 3, so you kind of stuff up 2 slots with 3s to make it very difficult to side. Also, having the climax combo now from Ghislaine, putting the assist out, level 3 Roxy out, and this could be a game for Cabbage if things don't go well for Ufmi. And this means, you know, everything is hitting for 2. You need kind of 2 attacks to go in unless you trigger. You're already going for the burn though.
Yeah.
Right?
Looks like he's already decided what he's going to do this turn. That is for 2. And if Ufmi takes this one, that will be game.
That is game. That is game. And ooh, that was a rough situation for Ufmi, to be fair, right?
Yeah, taking 2 of the 3 soul attacks on that turn. You know, following the turn that Fresh Cabbage just cancelled 2 swings for 3. Yeah, I think that really widened the gap between them, and it is pretty unfortunate for Ufmi, but it is Fresh Cabbage that is moving on to the finals today.
Yep, and that's how it is. I feel like for Ufmi there, he was in a pretty good position, you know, before level 2.
Yeah, he was in a decent spot.
And then level 2 is where the whole situation, the whole house of cards kind of fell down.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of how it is. If he had more resources, right, he could kind of mitigate some of those situations. But that's kind of what you have to balance in Weiss Schwarz, right? You either have to balance your resources, and then in certain bad situations you can use them and get them out of those situations, or otherwise, you know, sometimes you just gotta take the punches as they go.
Yeah.
Right. So very cool, right? We got to see the power of Mushoku there. You know, even at level 2, they were able to make that board. And like, to be fair, Cabbage's board wasn't even that great, right? It was at the beginning, it felt relatively weak, getting run over by a lot of the plays that Ufmi was doing. But it just kind of felt like it kind of started run out of steam at a certain point as well. And then, you know, Mushoku starts stabilizing, and then you have that power, the defensive power that it has.
Yeah, I think you know, with the standbys that Fresh Cabbage got, as well as the cancels, the fact that his board was getting dismantled for the first few turns was pretty recoverable. Once he got the 2-2s out and his 2-2s started coming back, I think that was all he needed, and he built the resources and went into finisher. So definitely was able to capitalize on that damage difference, as well as the board that he'd gained over the turns. So it's a good show of what Mushoku can do.
Cool. Yeah, that's very cool. And even the final few attacks, I know a lot of people like saving for the big combo, right? The big damage, multiple finishes in one turn. But you know, because of how Mushoku just kind of slowly builds a board, you can just burn 2 at some random point in a good situation and just you know, close out the game and not really have to worry too much as well, right? Because you've got the stock, you've got the board, you got a bit of everything. and just play your nice consistent game, consistent game, slow and steady, and then just burn. So that is it. With that, we have unfortunately Ufmi going to the third and fourth place playoff, right? Because you can still win a PR card right there.
Yep.
We've come third. But then we've got Cabbage confirming his top spot, the finals, versus either Patrick, Mushoku Mura, or it will be against Midi Spring Chan, Bang Dream. So we'll take a quick short break, I guess, before we come back to the finals of Weiss Schwarz area region.
All right, hello and welcome back, everyone. This is Bushiroad Rumble Online 2022, the WS final match, the finals of the WS tournament. So I think we have Midi Springchan playing Bang Dream against Fresh Cabbage using Mushoku Tensei in the finals. Hopefully it's going to be just as exciting as we expect from a finals game. What say you?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. You kind of spoilt the finals already, man. Now it was fight between Patrick and Midi Springchan. Got the brackets, kind of see how they all made it here. All right, but yeah, we got Fresh Cabbage versus Midi Springchan. And I mean the Bang Dream. We saw the Bang Dream earlier on. We saw the Mushoku just then, and now they're here. Right, they're here. Patrick and Ufmi will be playing out for third and fourth place. That should be the whole life versus Mushoku. And it should be quite interesting. We do have their decks, right? I think we've seen them already, but we can quickly go through it and kind of just discuss the matchup, right? What do you think? What do you think? The Cabbage got the pull early plays, a bit different from all the other Mushoku decks that we've been seeing.
I think with Paul, maybe Fresh Cabbage can fight back a bit better against the level 3s that Bang Dream poses up as a threat against it. But
that's a good point.
Midi Springchan did just come out of a Mushoku Tensei matchup where he was able to fight that board. So I think Fresh Cabbage may be on the defensive side here. Maybe an uphill battle. It also is notable that the anti-change counter in Fresh Cabbage's deck has targeted character, which means that as soon as Midi Springchan is able to put out the 2-1 Parrier, which is right over here, he won't be able to target the Choo-Choo, which means that card is rendered somewhat useless. It's still a 2-5 counter, so yeah.
Okay, and I mean we've seen Gazlanes, the level 3 Gazlanes, break through boards. Can this board be broken like that?
It absolutely can be, but one of the great things about Midi Springchan's deck is that the mid game doesn't exactly connect to the end game. So even if your board is broken, that's kind of fine from Midi Springchan's perspective. You can just go into your Mashiro plan, and as long as it keeps canceling, you just keep beating in attacks, and it can't be rest counted as long as that's the one that's attacking.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. So it just depends. It's gonna come down to can Midi Springchan put on those attacks, those huge multi attacks, and can Cabbage kind of cancel a lot. I mean, he's been canceling really well though.
Yeah.
I think the two cancels that he got in the previous game, the third, the last card cancel, that was huge. Yeah, that was big. Those
were definitely game changers.
Yeah, taking low damage, going through that deck quite a lot. That's very nice. That's very cool. So it should be. I think it should be quite interesting. We haven't really, Bang Dream again, right? Kind of hasn't been in the spotlight as much in terms of what's in the how do you say it? In the field. But now we can see it at least twice today. Yeah. Right. And we can see too much. How do you say it? Mushoku maybe. Maybe it can be taken down. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I did mention this earlier, but this deck, Bang Dream, is a deck that's very well positioned against some of the other decks, including Mushoku. So I don't think it will come to any surprise that this deck can beat Mushoku. But I think what is even more impressive on top of that is that he's managed to beat a lot of the other matchups, which aren't particularly in Bang Dream's favor necessarily. Your level 3 early play plan might not be specifically effective against those, and you still have to play normal WS, but Midi Springchan has made it all the way up here, along with Fresh Cabbage as well, so I think this will be a good game.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool as well. Midi Springchan, the last AO defender, right? There was a lot of American players as well that did very, very well, made top 8. There was like five NA players. But Midi Springchan was able to make it to the finals right now, and maybe take it home, or would it be fresh cabbage, staying fresh, right? So the players are actually ready. They're ready to go. Let's go and take a look at the finals of a Weiss Schwarz PRO.
All right.
Let's who begins?
Yeah. So it looks like they've already completed their mulligans. Fresh cabbage has discarded, was that 3 or 4 cards? Midi Springchan is going first.
Ooh.
So
but here's the thing, right? Is you mentioned before that Midi Springchan, in terms of like the goodness of its early game, is not that impressive when you compare it to a lot of other decks out there, right?
I wouldn't say it's super strong, yeah. It's also not exactly like terrifyingly weak or anything. So I think Midi Springchan. Looks okay. So it looks like he sent a character to stock. Yeah. I think what Midi Springchan mostly wants to worry about is firstly not having to chump attack with his level 1 combo into Fresh Cabbage's level 1 game, and then secondly is just setting up his early plays. But fortunately, because his early plays are kind of immune to the anti-change counter, it doesn't really matter so much whether or not he hits level 2 first or not.
Yeah, and the reason why that goes to stock is you know how you have the cards that return to hand at the beginning of like the draw phase, and you can like look at you reveal the top and it goes back to hand. That doesn't actually go back to hand. It seems to just go to stock.
Yeah. It's not bad. You get 2 stock for one card, which is pretty effective. And this deck's mid game is somewhat stock intensive, so I think the extra stock that you gain here can really add up.
Midi Springchan taking quite a bit of damage. Fresh Cabbage is going in, dual laning already, and Midi Springchan gonna go to 1 right now.
Well, this might not be too bad though, because as we saw in an earlier game from Midi Springchan, we saw him try lane with combo pretty quickly. So I think he's fine with playing faster games. He doesn't look like he has triple combo this time, but he does have the level 0 barrier, which has what is commonly known as a clean cut effect. If it reverses an opponent, you can rest one of the other characters and push it to the back row.
That's a few of the clean cuts, right?
Yeah, so by playing 2 of those out, he's making sure that he can fight Fresh Cabbage's board properly. The runner can't escape to a different lane. So he's still going to be able to attack 3 times here. He gets to keep his character. He doesn't have to jump attack yet. If he does have to jump attack next turn, that's not too bad because at least he got to save his character this time.
And we get 1 instance of the climax combo going off.
Yeah, so this time it's not going to be plussing him because he used the climax and he gained 1 card. So it's a net ±0. But he was able to slam a climax and push damage, which, you kind of want to do.
Yeah, just 1k1s nowadays, all about that damage, right? And you want to see if Cabbage is hungry. Does he want to eat that damage or not? We'll see. We'll see.
So that is for 2, and he cancels. So using the effect, he can move back to the level 1 combo. And looks like he's not contemplating stopping the attacks here. But if Fresh Cabbage cancels this one, it looks like he didn't. Yeah, he would have been stranded on level 0 for a little bit. But looks like Fresh Cabbage is going to be playing a bit of a faster game.
It actually doesn't... It's not bad, right? It has 2 stock already. So if he really wants to, he can hard play like 2 more 1/1s. Already has a 1/1 in the back, Eris.
Yeah, he definitely can. So I think Midi Springchan will probably have to be jump attacking at least once next turn. But, he's been able to save card advantage. He went first. He has enough stock. I think he's going to be fine. So he just really needs to set up his deck so he can comfortably early play that Choo Choo and Parry when he hits level 2. Ideally, I think double Choo Choo is what he'd want to be looking at. Oh, all right. So Fresh Cabbage does have triple combo.
We got the triple, right? We got the triple. And that is a lot. This is pretty good. This is a good spot. You think, paying stock to call a 1/1, 7/5 is like, that's a bit of an investment, but when you're getting cards like this, life is good, right?
Yeah. So his board is probably all, maybe 1 card might not survive the next turn, but probably most of it's going to come back next turn. So the stock investment is definitely going to pay off. But on the other hand, Midi Springchan kind of just probably expected something across this line to happen. So,
yeah, especially when you see Cabbage attacking twice on that turn, you go, why does he want 2 stock? Because he wants to use 2 stock, right? That's how your train of thought would normally go, and that can kind of, you just think naturally, okay, probably has 2 cards that he's going to put down next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it looks like Midi Springchan's probably going to be sitting around mid-level 1 at the end of this turn.
And the last attack going for 2. and takes the 2 as well. Not bad. Still at level 1 now.
Yeah.
Midi, if Midi wants to, can probably nearly go for a pretty decent refresh at 1.5.
Yeah, I think that's what he will probably be aiming to do. And if he doesn't cancel too much over the refresh, he'll be able to early play. The Brainstorm, I think, has a pretty good chance of hitting here. We haven't seen a huge number of climaxes leave the deck yet. And he has ample stock as well to do the early plays. So
going for 1, though.
For 1, that's all right. So...
Searches. I think that deck should be pretty stacked, right? Can probably go for a double combo.
Yeah. And Fresh Cabbage is currently on 1-0, which means that depending on how damage goes this turn, Midi Springchan might be able to keep it at level 1 and very safely set up his Choo Choo Imperio. But switching the level 1 combo here, looks like Midi Springchan's going to go for a second round of its choice combo. Yep.
And I think this is an easy deck. I think the scary thing is if that deck is full of climax, you have a weird chance of maybe missing.
Yeah, you might. But I think he has that all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, top 5 getting 2 is it should be pretty good.
It should be. So he uses the level 0 Choo Choo and discards a card, reveals the top of the deck. It's a climax, so it allows him to salvage a level 0.
And what will be the last card? The cool thing, again, the cool thing about the combo for Midi Springchan is you don't need to reverse or anything, and that's
it just needs to attack.
Big plus.
Yep.
And just playing more cards down. And actually only going for 1, so probably no combo. Just sweep.
Right.
Oh, once.
Right. So he's going to trigger a climax, and it looks like he is getting a climax this time.
I think is it a side? Is it?
Yeah, that's the side for 1. So I think he just wants to keep the Kayad out of his deck, cushion a bit more damage, so keep everything safe.
And probably thinking this one fronts. True.
Yep.
It's not bad. Cancels again. Cancel. Cabbage, not hungry right now. Doesn't want to take the damage, and that entire Eris line still staying alive, right? Getting that extra value. I think this is a good investment. Getting at least 2 turns out of your Eris, pretty good. Next turn, if Mini Springchan starts dropping the early plays in the players, then they might be gone, but. At that point, you've done enough work, right? You've done the value, and you've gotten so many cards from the combo as well. So overall, pretty good investment. And here, like actually really good, because he had like a bunch of lines that are hitting for 2 damage as well. Yeah,
it's a good number to hit.
Yeah, very good number to hit. Getting back the combo again as well.
So with a climax swap, he's changed the level 3 combo climax in hand to level 1, and then he's going to use the standby to mill 6 cards, gain 3, and probably put another 2/2 over the level 0 in the back row.
Yeah, this is a perfect field developing for Cabbage as well. So very, very cool. And just kind of cementing his lead, because I'm pretty sure Midi Springchan's going to hit like level 2 this turn, but can stabilize, right? With just if Midi Springchan can early play the big cards, right?
Yeah. Well, that being said though, because we're expecting Midi Springchan to hit level 2 next turn and do the early play, the 2 level 2 lanes in the back row aren't particularly effective cards to fight what Midi Springchan's expected next turn will be.
Just cancelling there as well.
So, yeah.
Then takes 2.
Yep.
I actually wonder how many climaxes are in Midi Springchan's deck.
Well,
just very curious.
Yeah, it might be, but it might just be an unfortunate. It might be expected, but if he just doesn't have any climaxes left in there, it does mean that Midi Springchan knew that he's not gonna have more than 2 climaxes in the waiting room when he next refreshes. So he does pretty safely set up. For his early play, and he'll have cards in clock to heal off. So overall, I think either way, it still makes a lot of sense.
He could cancel this or just take it.
Yeah,
and then. In this world, he can draw and do like a clock or something like that, and then early play 2 cards.
Yeah, he can only play 2 cards, so he'll heal 2 off, and his board will be more or less cemented for rest
a while.
Yeah, at least 2 turns, I think.
And that's pretty good. It's pretty good being able to stay on board for a good period of time. Fresh Cabbage getting a pretty good refresh coming up too. Well, just did refreshing at 1-1.
Oh, I think Fresh Cabbage has to discard at the end of the turn. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot of. Oh, that's actually not bad to discard those cards. To getting a pool, setting up a pool when it reaches level 2.
Yeah.
Now what would? Well, here we go. We got the clock.
Yep, so it looks like Meaty Springchan is refreshing with, I believe, 6. He salvaged a climax last time. Has still one in the stock, so should be 6, maybe 5 if there's one more that I haven't accounted for. But yeah, he is getting ready for that early play line.
Yeah, I don't know, refreshing with 6 ain't the best, but where like he still has a big finisher, right, that he can kind of rely on, and if he can just kind of stabilize for the next couple of turns. Is that a climax?
That is a climax, but at least it can be healed off, especially during the Encore step as well. So it doesn't obstruct additional copies of Choo Choo hitting the board. So overall, it's unfortunate, but in this particular deck, it could be worse.
And we've got the two of these coming out, the 2 Choo Choos.
So that's Rausch und and Craziness, Choo Choo, Choo Squared, Choo Choo. Yeah.
And we're just waiting for the Paleo to come out, right?
And looks like he hit one, so he such as finisher over here, which means that, yeah, he's getting ready in case he does hit level 3 a bit earlier than when he wants. He will be able to push full game against Fresh Cabbage, as soon as Fresh Cabbage does hit that lethal range.
Yeah, and can you kind of explain to us the finisher of Bangdru?
Yep, so Bang Range Mushroom finisher heals when she's played from hand. She gains 500 for each other character on your board. And when you have the combo and damage dealt by her is cancelled while you have 4 other characters on the board, you can pay 2 and send the Mushroom to memory to bring out a level 3 from, or any character really, from your waiting room. So typically you bring out another Mushroom until your resources run dry. And then you'll just keep attacking until your opponent takes some damage. So yeah, if you want to increase your range, you generally have to play out 2 mushrooms. But if you only need to stick 1 instance of damage to win, you can just keep jamming the same mushroom in the same lane.
So Midi's discards another climax. So I think there's like what, 3 climaxes left in Midi's deck?
Yeah, which is not many, but enough to cancel a bit. So yeah, it looks like he's turned that Brainstorm into a Pareo, and he can make 3 attacks. Interesting, he keeps the Pareo in the back. He might be playing around the Stock Kick Lilia, which can turn off Pareo and the buff being applied to the Choo Choos.
It's very important. Very smart. Knows the matchup, And going, is that a Mewtwo?
Yep, so he's paid 1 and mill 2 using the backward Talkers effect to salvage a level X character, where X is the total of the 2 cards that he milled. Right, so yeah, he's kept the parry in the back row, and he's going to go for another line of combo. He looks like he can go through his deck a decent amount this turn.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, because we know that his deck is not great.
Yeah,
his deck
it's not very
great. So being able to just do that will kind of save him, right?
So he's added 2 level 0s to hand and triggers for 2, no soft icon, so that's 2 damage. Oh, sorry, that looks like a side.
Side?
Yeah, that's a side.
Yeah. I mean, these are doing work already.
So he's going to be frontal attacking.
Twin Drive?
Twin Drive. So that is another climax, but that climax can be paid out with the Twin Drive effect given to the other Choo Choo.
She's salvaging the gate again.
Right, so that's for 4.
4's a pretty good number, remember? And, that last cancel. And then the last one, we get the Twin Drive to wash out that last climax again. Triggers nothing. Pretty good. 4 damage again.
Pretty good that he's buried a mushroom into his stock. And
another cancel. So is this actually bad for Cabbage? Like, when you think, okay, you cancel a lot of times, 1-3, feels good.
I think Cabbage has probably gained enough card advantage that he can stay at a lower level a bit longer and not mind that at all. But if this goes on for too long while Meaty Springchan cancels, then yeah, it could turn bad. But for the moment, it seems fine. And Meaty Springchan is just kind of hoping to cancel here.
Is he going to run in those 2-2s though?
I think he'll have to, just for the damage output, because at this point, Cabbage isn't going to be able to use those 2-2s to fight for the board, at least for the next turn. And he may as well, I think he's decided that he may as well just use those for damage output. Seeing as Meaty Springchan doesn't seem too compressed, is on significantly higher damage. Yes.
I think probably only at most 2 climax in Meaty Springchan's deck, because we saw him trigger 1, right? Yeah. So if we assume that 3, there's only 3 left. Unfortunately, Eris staying alive is a bit good on Cabbage's side,
Yeah, he has gained a little bit of value from it, but I think Meaty Springchan
value. So
Meaty Springchan probably had to just pick his battles.
Can't win them all.
Yeah,
can't win them all. That's something you got to learn. And what do you swing with here? If you were Cabbage, what
I think
do you
I
want
would
to
just
first?
attack with the level 1 first.
Okay.
But,
Just kind of trying to fish it out, right?
yeah.
Because you could technically stand by over the level 1, but I think you just put it in the back, right? Because everything's so big, you'll probably run over anything that you call out.
Yeah. I am curious as to why he's decided to chump with the 2/2s as opposed to fighting the level 1 over there. It could be that he's worried about a counter because he doesn't have a card in the back row, meaning that the Gillians aren't too big.
Going
But-
with the 2/2s first here. Going for 2 damage.
Yep.
Just showing it's lower.
Yep.
And then Meteor Spring Chan taking the 2, sticking in. And then Ghislaines again. This one's a 3. So going for get cancelled. Okay,
It's a good cancel.
Not bad, not bad. Then swing in for 1.
Yep.
And this one just fronting, getting the 1 damage
one.
in.
But it's not too bad. He got the heals off last turn, so he can still refresh and not hit level 3 yet, I think.
Is there a world where like Meteor Spring Chan can like continue to early play and feel good?
I think it's deck's thin enough, so he might be able to, but I'm not sure if he can afford to use the resources like that, because...
Ooh, moving up the Paleo.
Yeah. He does need to save up for his finisher eventually. He revealed at level 0. I think he's probably going to get a Brainstorm here. Yeah, he's got a Near's Brainstorm back. Yeah. And his deck is 5 cards, so with 3 attacks and 2 Twin Grabs, he can pay it all out. I'm not sure.
Ooh,
Alright,
combos.
So he probably might just keep it on 1 Twin Grab then, in that case. So
Yep.
he'll be able to put the choice back in his deck.
And Cabbage taking the 2 damage, right? But is he gonna take any more?
Interesting that Midi Springtime decided to front with the 1-soul character and then direct with the 4s. I think usually people decide like to even out the damage a bit.
Going for a twin drive here, and blank
Still 5.
5. And
And that
cancels there
cancels.
too. Cabbage getting very good cancels.
Mm-hmm.
Now can probably refresh at like 1/6. All right.
Yeah, possibly.
The deck is low enough. A bit hard to see from this end, but
Yeah, he opted not to clock roll, so it looks like he just wants to brainstorm and, you know, wow, okay.
Wow. Well, that just solves any resource problem you might have.
Wow, all right.
Hitting 3. They were stacked, weren't they?
Yeah, they absolutely were.
I wouldn't be surprised if you drew another climax at that point too.
Well, Fresh Cabbage is going to start building up quite a bit of stock, I think. And it is a bit difficult for Midi Springchan to get past that because I don't think he's playing the stock top, neither the Buns for Luck event, because that's red, or the new level 3 Yukina, because it requires you to discard 2 Roselia characters. And I think the number of Roselia characters in Midi Springchan's deck is quite low. It's a number of level 0 Yukinas, but from memory, I think that's about it.
Yep. And ooh, it's looking pretty good for Cabbage, to be honest. You're still staying at level 1 for how many turns now?
A lot, like 3?
3. I think this is the longest level 1 we've seen from a player for the entire tournament.
I believe so too.
So how does Bang Dream combat this situation now? You know,
I think you
Cabbage-
just have to stick a big instance of damage.
yeah, Cabbage just is just stocking up. You know.
Yeah,
he's not
unfortunately
hungry.
for Miji Spring Chan,
Ooh.
the Macro finisher is similar to a cancel burn, so it's not very good at dealing extra instances so much it is as kind of guaranteeing that your opponent takes a minimum amount of damage.
Yeah.
And when your opponent's a level 1, if your opponent takes 4, there's still only like 2, 4, 2, 3, that range.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Midi Sprang Chan needs to cancel well and needs to hope that Fresh Cabbage is going to take damage / run out of hand. But the Brainstorm hit 3 from the last turn kind of just made the chances of that go really low. So
I mean, Cabbage throwing down a Lily as well, but you know, can't use the effect
Yeah.
one of the player because there's nothing that's big enough.
yeah, I'm assuming that's just because he has too many cards in hand.
Yeah. Does kind of show off that you know got to be a bit careful, but at this point, I think Midi Spring doesn't really care. Is it?
No, I don't think it does.
Goes to level 3 now.
Yep, so that's for 1 as well.
Cancels the 1. And the last attack, a 1. And just takes the 1.
I don't think it's too bad that he took that one, because
One is
that's
easily
easier to heal
healable,
off,
yeah.
yeah. The issue from here is just exactly how much Midi Springchan can heal / cancel while...
Going for a brainstorm.
Oh, no, I think that's a pay 1 rest 2 effect. So he's going to salvage a level 1 or lower character this time. He's got it. So this time I think he just salvaged the brainstorm. Oh no, sorry. He salvaged the brainstorm and then played over the other macro to heal.
Okay. Going into the Bushiroad already, right?
Yeah, Bushiroad, unlike the variant in H-Choice Slime, it does not heal when she's played out of a copy of herself. So going into this line, not that Midi Springchan has any clock to heal off anyway, but it is going to deplete resources that he could potentially use to heal later should Fresh Cabbage kind of demand that Midi Springchan require 1 more turn to end the game.
Yeah, and the already committing the Bushiroad climax as well right now. It seems a bit soon, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty hard to stick these direct attacks with 4, but you know, if the 4 does stick, which we've seen can totally happen today.
That's right. I think Cabbage experienced the 4s, right? The cancel there. All right, he's not hungry. He's had enough of the 4 damages. Searching for the amulet as well. Very, very strong amulets. I think everyone's trying to find ways to take it in. Yeah.
And then Cabbage has leveled up and used the effect of the Mega Amulet to search for the level 3 Ghislaine. So it looks like it's ready to fight Midi Springchan's board and potentially do some burn damage with the combo.
Yep. Going for the second attack here.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
okay. All right.
That is a big stick of damage.
That is a big.
But does this activate the Bushiroads? Because
yeah, so I think now Midi Springchan can just keep doing this and try and push Fresh Cabbage to level 3. So if any of these 4 sticks, Fresh Cabbage is going to be on quite a bit of damage.
But I think that the tough part about this is that this needs to they need to cancel in order for the effect to go up.
Yeah, well, but if he doesn't cancel, the 4's stuck. So that's kind of all he needs to accomplish at this point.
Okay, so it's popping again.
So it looks like Midi Springchan is gonna keep gonna do this. All right, sorry. All right, no, I think he stopped the last Bushiroad. So he's gonna pay 1 and discard 1 to send the bottom few cards of Fresh Cabbage's deck and burn equal to the number of climaxes. Right, that is 1 climax, I think. So it's a burn 1. Yep. And if Fresh Cabbage sees a refresh point here, I don't think he can early play. We've seen too many climaxes leave the deck.
Cancels.
Yep. So that pushes Fresh Cabbage up to level 3 effectively. And then this Bushiroad has another effect where if Midi Springchan takes damage and does not cancel, he can look at the top card of the deck and leave it on top or put it on the bottom.
Oh, that's pretty good, in this situation.
Yeah, so I think he's extended extended maybe the number of turns he can live by 1. He most likely isn't going to just lose immediately this turn. Fresh Cabbage is on 2 and 6, I think. Which means that with refresh, he's going to hit 3 and 0, and that is a range where Midi Springchan has a shot of winning. Fresh Cabbage hitting Brainstorm and the 3 climaxes again. Kind of expected, I guess, after taking that 5.
And just to point out those Bushiroads that, comboed last turn, they went to memory, so there's only there's less of them available for the next turns if he wants to go for the super high roll. Right? But he also doesn't have enough stock to go for the big the super big play, right? And Cabbage actually playing over.
That's interesting. So I think by doing it in the main phase, he's trying to level himself up in order to hit level 3 and then make his own play. A bit hard to see exactly how much stock he has over there, but I assume it's a decent number.
Yeah, and maybe even digging a bit.
Yeah, well, I'll see how this goes, but Midi Springchan does have some resources left over. It is enough to make a play next turn. And Fresh Cabbage is somewhat compressed, so with a little bit of luck, Midi Springchan should be able to shoot off some climaxes from the bottom using the level 3 Bushiroad. Maybe do another round of the combo if he has a copy around. So yeah, there's a few avenues that he has to try and end the game. I think it is still in Fresh Cabbage's favor, but he has seen kind of a glimmer of hope, should I say, because Fresh Cabbage did take 5 damage and go to the level 3 this time.
I mean, Cabbage still has the rest counter available to him, right? So Mini Springtrap will have to attack in a certain way in order to mitigate that.
Well, fortunately, if the choo-choos don't get answered this turn, not sure how likely that is, they do have the effect that they can't be targeted by the opponents.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, if choo-choo survive, or maybe plays a new copy down with the parrier still in the back, he might be able to play around the rest counter pretty effectively.
Oh, is that a brainstorm hitting 2? That is not something you want to see, right?
Oh, no, it looks like it was another effect. I slightly missed what that was, but well, he's added a card. And looks like he's climax swapping, getting a climax, and his stock is looking a bit thin there.
He's got. You'd think you want to keep the stock, right? Moving up the Lilia
I think he's just gonna go for game at this point, but with this iteration of attacks, Mini Springchan is going to get quite a few top checks before the big attacks come in. Or he will take some big attacks and then, you know, cancel the small ones. But in either case, I don't think Mini Springchan is posed to you know, hit level 4 this turn.
Yeah, like normally when you want to attack into the Mashiro like effect that has on the board right now, you want to hit big, right?
Yeah,
kind of the bigger the better, but not exactly too big. We can see the shoo-shoos should get answered this turn, right?
Yeah, so it looks like Fresh Cabbage is on 2 stock and he's trying to fight off the choo-choos, which or not. I was about to say that if he was going to fight the choo-choos, it was probably because he was holding the rest counter in his hand and he wants to deter Midi Springchan from making that play.
But will he, if Cabbage uses any kind of his lane effect or combo here, I don't think he has enough stock to be able to do the rest.
Yeah,
that shows a lot.
Yeah, he did grab the combo, so it means that if he's doing that, he's not going to use the rest counter, which means that just with enough cancels here, Midi Springchan has a shot.
Yeah, and then you don't have to actually worry about like the shoo-shoos staying alive because you don't have to worry about a counter.
Yeah, so you just use them as a beat stick. So.
And I mean, like, here's the thing: you do kind of want to hit big or like do, you know, damage right now because, you know, Midi Springchan technically isn't that compressed as well, right?
Yeah, but I think he does have enough to survive. So
okay, all right. And Midi does run the kind of decompressor as well. So
interesting that he brings out a 2K support here. I don't think he's going to be moving that card up next turn should Midi Springchan survive and then Fresh Cabbage also survive. Yeah. But I guess it does make one of his Ghislaines slightly bigger. So
just to make sure it's hitting over or something, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But he could have also brought out a level 3. Anyhow, that is a cancel for 2, and then the 3's got to swing in.
Ooh,
takes the
that
3.
Hits in.
But he can use the effect on the Mashiro to surveil 1. And puts it into the waiting room. So, right. Well, based on this attack order, Fresh Cabbage has to attack with the middle first anyway. So,
and look, if Midi is getting into a kind of dangerous situation, because if he takes the 1.
Yeah, if he takes 1,
he has to cancel like both the 2s.
Yeah. But if he takes the 1, he also gets the top check 1. So it's pretty likely, I think, as long as there is a climax in the deck, that he can cancel. That being said, with that thinness, I think it was even something worth considering that he could just choose to leave the non-climax on top, so he can take the middle swing. But looks like he gave it a twin drive, so it might not actually have been ideal. Yeah,
we've got like one more Ghislaine after this.
Yep, so Ghislaine getting replaced by Paul. That's for 2 damage.
2? That sticks.
Right.
Okay,
yep. So it looks like Mini Springchan will have to cancel twice, leaves it on top. So I think pretty straightforward. That card should be a climax. Pay 2.
Did it? Yeah, burn 2. Cancel.
Cancel, yep.
And then triggers a 3. So might be a bit
2.
There it is.
Cancel,
okay. That was close. I'm 3-5 now.
1, 2. Yeah, that looks like 3-5. So Mini Springchan can
3.
Take 3 to keep Mashiro. Yep.
But
Well,
this limits some options, though.
it does, but well, firstly, that mushroom has an effect which can do additional damage by paying one and discarding one.
So technically very cheap.
Yeah, so pretty affordable, and with Fresh Cabbage's deck state, it might actually send more than one climax away. So, if he burns for 3, that's great. If he burns for 2 and then he cancels, that also removes 3 climaxes. Overall, pretty useful. And then I was about to say that Meaty Springchan does have a level 0 Brainstorm, which allows him to discard 2 cards to replace the Brainstorm with any character in his bin, so long as the character's level is equal to or lower than his own.
Oh,
so he can actually move from 0 stock, but looks like that's not happening right now.
Player.
3, yep. So salvages for climax.
No climax coming out here is a bit scary, right?
Yeah.
The numbers are a bit lower. Cancel,
alright. But he does have enough potential damage output here, just so long as this burn up to 3 is...
Oh, was that 2?
2, I think it looks like 2. Yep. Takes the 2.
One. And then triggers for 2.
Ooh, alright. So with just the next one sticking, Meaty Springchan can win the game and be the AO region champion for...
Cabbage needs to cancel the last attack. Yeah. Actually, he's got a pull up, right? Oh.
He does have a pull, but pull only activates... Well, pull only activates if he cancels, but if he doesn't cancel, then Fresh Cabbage is probably not going to win this game.
But he could actually win. If he cancels, he could win on...
Yeah, he might just win on defense, but...
Oh, this is the final matchup. It all comes down to pull. And this is like the most important cut.
Yeah.
That Meaty Springchan.
So fresh penalty takes the 2.
And then the last attack. We have the final matchup.
Pull versus Choo Choo.
Here we go, boys. Roush.
Alright, front foot. Oh, yeah. That's reversed, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's reversed.
Triggers. Nothing. Perfect. Precise damage. This is as precise as it gets. And
oh my gosh.
And then the pull, Mills, hits.
Discard a card to burn 2.
The reflect cancels.
And cancels. Oh. A lot going on in this game. I think that was actually... Oh, no, sorry. Because of global power, that was smaller than Ghislaine.
Wow. It's getting tight.
It is quite close. I didn't expect Fresh Cabbage to be on this much damage so quickly.
Okay, Cabbage, does he have the combo? If he has the combo, he can technically do...
Can do just 1 instance.
Yes.
But even without it, he only actually needs to stick, I think, 1 instance of damage? Looks like 1.
3/6. Yeah, that's right.
So he only needs to poke around for a bit.
That's right. So, technically can do a burn or can throw down a couple of very 1 damage cards.
Yeah.
Right? Hope doesn't trigger, right? We know the standby decks do run a lot more soul icons than normal. But, sticking 1 damage shouldn't be hard, right? What are the chances that the top cards in Meaty Springchan's deck are just all climaxes? Well, we've had... If you play Weiss, you've had those situations where they're all climaxes, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you draw 3 in your opening hand, you're like, why are they stacked together? But now your base... Meaty Springchan is praying that they are stacked together. Cabbage, what is he going to do? There should be an ample amount of cards in his hand. Moving the Ghislaine to the middle kind of indicates that he might have combo.
Yeah, otherwise I think he would just jump 3 times, but...
Yeah. Is it better to do 2/2? Oh,
interesting.
Doesn't even play over. Okay, 2 damage.
2. And that is game.
Oh, that is game. Cabbage takes it home in a very, very close game.
Yeah.
All players getting that 3/6.
1 cancel away from, going to level 4. So, it could have really been Meaty Springchan's game as much as it was Fresh Cabbage's game right here.
That's right. Actual, the closest game I think we've had. Maybe the entire PRO AO region, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's good to see that sort of game on finals. Where we've got 2 worthy players up here playing against each other. So, of course, the game's going to be like this, right?
That's right. So, Fresh Cabbage taking first place. and Mini Spring Chan getting second place as well, and then we'll soon find out who is the third and fourth place out of the last two plays in the playoff. I think we will be having an interview though with the winner after a short break, so be sure to stick around and we can find out what Fresh Cabbage feels and thinks about, coming in first place and getting those prizes. So any thoughts you want to add, Ken?
Oh no, I think I'll let Fresh Cabbage do all the speaking on that one.
Yeah, we want to pluck his brain to find out how it went, right? How the whole thing went. But yeah, stick around, everyone. We'll be right back with the finale, and the final bits of BROAO, and that'll be that, right? So see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. And after that insane finals, we're ready with our interview with the winner, Fresh Cabbage. And I think we can bring him. We're ready to bring him on. Ask him, pick his brain, ask some questions, and see how it all went down. So let's get to it. First thing I want to say, there he is. Congratulations! Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
And I want to ask, how fresh do you feel right now?
I mean, yeah, this is pretty fresh. I'm still like in the excitement for like winning my like first like big event.
Wow. And honestly, why Mushoku? I just gotta ask that first. I think a few of us know the answer. Maybe some of the audience do, but we gotta hear from the winner.
I mean, yeah. So like, I bought like Mushoku like when it came out, and like the board present of this deck just like really helped me get through like these games, like when like I can like maintain my board every turn and like build my resources from like there to like outgrind my opponent. And I just felt like this matchup, like this deck can like really help me like get through all these like tough matchups.
Nice. And I mean, look, that final game as well, I felt you were like so far ahead in the beginning, but then how did it feel that like when his opponent was about to last attack and cancel that, the reflect? What was going through your mind in that situation?
I mean, yeah, like I got really worried like when his like Marshall like milled 2 climaxes off with the effect, and I got really scared. And luckily like I was able to like cancel off the top with like the ball. And
it is what it is. It is what it is, right? Ken.
Yeah. So I think we had a slightly different format this Bro tournament compared to BSF, which I think you also have a tournament top in. So what were the matchups which you think were the hardest?
Like for sure, like definitely I think like what's different between like BSF and now is like the addition of like, is it wrong to pick up like girls from a dungeon? Is that what it's called? Damachi?
Yeah, Damachi.
Like yeah, like that deck can like easily like answer like Mushoku's board every turn. But like I still think with like decent triggers, you're able to like still like maintain your resources, as well as like using like the Ares combo to like gain back your like hand.
Nice. And I mean, here's one other question: is Mushoku with you for like, we got BCS coming up, pretty important tournament. Is it the Mushoku life, or do you have something else on your mind that you might be thinking of taking for WS?
I mean, like obviously I'm like already well prepped with Mushoku, and I'll definitely keep it like in the back of my pocket. But like I'm also looking at like all these like new releases like Quintuplet Set 2, and also I'm like also testing with Tokyo Revengers right now.
Ooh, we've seen a few of those. One thing also is, how much practice did you actually do for this tournament, or was it just you were ready, right? You were ready already for it?
I mean, like I've definitely had like lots of practice with this deck for the Springfest season. So like going in, I feel like from the last half of the year, I've had like plenty of practice with this deck, and I feel really comfortable like bringing this deck in.
Nice. And I guess here's another one. Now that you're the champion, and there's a lot of new players out there. A lot of people getting into Weiss, especially like English, right? What is there? What would you tell them to get better at the game? To get as good as you, pretty much. You're number one now.
Yeah, like I feel like what's different between like Weiss and like other stuff if you're like new to Weiss is like how to like maintain your like resources, how to like build up your hand while also like maintaining like good deck state and like also decent compression, and I think that's like stuff to think about, definitely.
Nice. Ken, anything you want to add as well?
I think you asked all the questions I wanted to ask.
Yeah, all right. Any shout outs you want to just to people that helped you make this journey?
I mean, like obviously shout outs to like all my friends that helped me test, and like my team Burn One TCG for like all the supports. And yeah.
Cool. All right. In that case, congratulations once again, Fresh Cabbage, and best of luck for you for the future horizon in BCS as well. All right.
All right. Thank you.
And with that marks the end of BRO AO region. Only the AO region.
We've got EU and NALA coming up.
That's right.
Later.
And those top 8s should just be as amazing as the ones that we've just had. So stick around if you want more Weiss Schwarz. It'll be excellent. Just to kind of wrap it up as well, you know, we have first place with Fresh Cabbage, second place got Midi Springchan, but the third place player was SBTCG Patrick, coming in third and snapping that prize card. All good. So that's pretty much the whole tournament. Do we want to take a look? We can take a look at the last bracket. Right? You know, the final brackets to see the whole journey for all the players. Right there we go. Champion Fresh Cabbage, and then second place is the Midi Springchan. Third place we have is SBTG Patrick, and then fourth place was UFB, and then that was the entire journey. Cabbage taking out UFB and Kisa Mats on the top 8 to become champion. So very, very great tournament, I have to say. You know, great games all around. We saw some very, very nice new decks, and this is the teaser, right? This is the teaser for the other regions as well as for BCS coming up, and we've got one coming up like right next week, and with some more sets coming. I think this BCS is going to be very, very insane. So again, all right, if you guys want more WS today, go check out EU Twitch, right? And then there'll be NA afterwards. And then after that, next week, even more. So any final words you want to say, Ken?
Oh no, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, as well as Kai for being a great commentator alongside me.
Thank you.
Everyone, you know, on the team running Bushiroad Rumble Online, judges, staff, streaming partners. You know, we couldn't do it without you. So yeah, big thanks to everyone. And yeah, thank you all for watching.
That's right. Thanks to the audience as well. You're great sticking around and watching all the great games with us, and just all the production staff and players, staff, judges, making it all happen. And with that is it. That is the end of BRO, at least for the AO region, this past 4 weeks. And I hope we'll see you all at another tournament or another BRO in the future. So see you later, everyone.
See ya, bye.